Ancient Israel's table was built around simple, rugged foods that modern science now calls nutrient-dense powerhouses. Barley bread was a daily staple, rich in fiber and minerals that keep blood sugar steadier than most modern white breads. Archaeologists have found grain impressions in ancient ovens that match the barley varieties still grown in the region today. Nutrition research now shows that these whole grains support gut health and reduce inflammation over time. What once fed farmers, shepherds, and fishermen now reads like a blueprint for a low-processed, high-fiber diet. Instead of soft, sugary breakfast pastries, their bread was chewy, earthy, and built to fuel hard work. By looking at barley in both ancient texts and modern lab results, we see how well their everyday food was designed for endurance. This lost staple challenges the way we think about convenience versus nourishment in the morning. When you put that history next to today's ultra-processed breakfast options, the contrast is hard to ignore. Figs and dates were not luxury snacks in ancient Israel. They were everyday energy sources packed with natural sweetness. Scripture mentions fig trees and date palms as signs of blessing, but modern labs see them as concentrated sources of fiber and antioxidants. Dried figs deliver calcium and potassium that support bone and muscle function far better than most candy-like snacks. Dates provide a slow, even release of energy when paired with nuts or grains instead of causing a sharp sugar crash. Researchers now study how their polyphenols protect cells from oxidative stress and support heart health. For ancient travelers and workers, these fruits were pocket-sized fuel that could survive heat and long journeys. Instead of flavored cereal bars and artificial syrups, they used whole fruit that came straight from the tree to the table. Reintroducing figs and dates into breakfast gives you sweetness with structure rather than empty calories. Modern nutrition is finally catching up to what their orchards already knew about real morning energy. Olives and olive oil sat at the center of ancient Israel's food culture, lighting lamps and enriching meals at the same time. The region's terraced hills were lined with olive trees that could endure drought and still produce rich, oily fruit. Today, scientists point to extra virgin olive oil as a key pillar of heart-protective Mediterranean-style diets. Its monounsaturated fats and antioxidant compounds have been linked to healthier arteries and reduced inflammation. For ancient households, olive oil was a daily ingredient, not a rare luxury reserved for special occasions. They used it to cook, to dress grains and vegetables, and even to preserve other foods over time. Modern cooking oils, stripped and refined, rarely carry the same depth of flavor or protective compounds. When we swap cheap, industrial fats for honest olive oil, we echo choices their kitchens made thousands of years ago. That simple switch pulls one of Israel's oldest foods straight into your breakfast bowl in a meaningful way. Lentils and other pulses quietly anchored the protein of ancient Israel long before protein powders were a trend. Stews of lentils, beans, and grains offered sustained energy that didn't depend on constant meat or sugar. Modern research celebrates these same foods for their ability to lower cholesterol and support stable blood sugar. Their combination of fiber, plant protein, and slow-digesting starch makes them ideal for starting the day without crashes. Ancient cooks often flavored these pots with herbs, oil, and a few seasonal vegetables rather than heavy sauces. The result was a meal that filled the stomach but didn't weigh the body down for the rest of the morning. Today, many people are rediscovering savory breakfasts built on beans and lentils instead of pastries and juice. Every spoonful joins archaeological findings with current cardiology advice in a surprisingly direct line. In that sense, a humble lentil stew may be one of the most powerful, lost breakfasts we can recover. The Bible's description of a land of wheat, barley, vines, fig trees, pomegranates, olive oil, and honey hides a nutritional pattern in plain sight. Those 7 species weave together complex carbohydrates, healthy fats, natural sugars, and a wide variety of plant compounds. Modern dietitians might call that mix a slow-burning, anti-inflammatory foundation for everyday life. Ancient worshippers saw the same pattern as a sign of blessing and provision rooted in the land itself. When we map their staple foods onto today's research, the overlap is too strong to ignore or dismiss as coincidence. Their meals were built from minimally processed plants and fats rather than synthetic additives and refined flours. Recreating those combinations in our own kitchens turns old scripture lists into living meal plans. Each bowl or plate becomes a small experiment in living at the intersection of tradition and evidence. In recovering these lost foods, we are really recovering a way of eating that respects both body and story.